Warren Buffett likes energy and home builder stocks. It's always interesting to take a look at what Berkshire Hathaway is doing, how they're positioning themselves. I don't usually like to be someone who's like, oh, this person really knows what's going on in the market, and I'm going to follow their opinion, because I'm a big math guy. At the end of the day, markets are random. It's so hard to try to predict anything, let alone say that someone is better at predicting something than someone else. But you do have to kind of give it up to Warren here. He's got a track record that is just incomparable to anyone else. And so always interesting to see how he's positioning Berkshire Hathaway, not only for his experience, but the fact that company, if you want to call it a company, is, a top 10 S&P 500 stock that doesn't create anything. All they do is hold other companies. And so, not only his opinion and experience meaningful, but the way that company positions its holdings have real economic effects. And this is what Warren has been eyeing recently, the purchases as of their 13F filing to the SEC for the second quarter here, reports that they were actually a net seller of stocks, getting more into cash and getting out of a stock market that's bounced back really well here to start 2023, off of what was a down year in 2022. So moving out of some stock positions into some cash, but he did buy 5 stocks this quarter, including Occidental, DR Horton, Capital One, Lennar, and NVR, to varying degrees. There you can see the share purchases, and you'll quickly pick up on some trends. First trend here is that 3 of those 5 stocks are home builders. And not only are they home builders, they're some of the biggest home builders. They're the top 3 stocks in the home builders ETF, ITB, and they make up more than 30% of that ETF. They actually make up more than a third of that ETF between the 3 of them. So really synonymous with the home builder industry. And as you can see, this must be some kind of, research, some kind of tell of what they think economically is going to occur in the future here, because not necessarily a value play. You look at the home builders ETF and it's sitting right there at its all-time highs, and you dissect these 3 stocks individually, and they actually all 3 made all-time highs in July. They're off a little bit from those highs, but all circling 30% higher here year to date. Of course, we don't know necessarily when Berkshire Hathaway bought these shares, but like I say, not necessarily picking up a stock that has been cut in half or cut by 30%. Now it has a really nice price to earnings ratio or price to book ratio, some of those value metrics that maybe would have intrigued a young Warren Buffett. But hey, an older Warren Buffett that's willing to place large trades, large bets on stocks like Apple that maybe don't have those value metrics, that one's been paying off pretty well. So we'll see where home builders go from here. Really interesting time to be getting into home builder stocks with the price near highs and so much volatility around the real estate industry. We'll see how that one shakes out. Another interesting trade here for Berkshire Occidental, and this is one that was very popular at the tastylive network when energy stocks were crashing and you were seeing historical downside extremes in Oxy and a handful of other oil stocks. Now, again, near its highs, as you might imagine. Crude oil is still $80 a barrel. It's off its highs of $120 a barrel. But, this is a stock that since 2022 is up about 100%. Since its lows in 2020, there you can see is up almost fivefold, as this was almost a single-digit stock back in 2020. And I remember for that period looking at how expensive the put options were, how jacked up volatility was in this stock as it crashed from being, $30, $40, $50 stock to being a $10 or $20 stock for not just a couple of months, but pretty much a full year there, coming off of the pandemic news and what that meant for crude oil and travel and everything else. Been able to fight back here. And Warren Buffett going with the crude oil play, Oxy here, buying some shares there in the second quarter. And then finally, Capital One, another interesting one here, given the context of 2023 and what it's meant for bank stocks. Capital One, COF, highly correlated with regional bank stocks. And that's been, now here you get into what could be considered more of a value play, given that bank stocks are off here this year. Financials are one of the few sectors that have not really bounced back in 2023, given the volatility that came from the regional bank crisis in March, April, and May. And a stock that got as high as 160, 170 bucks in the later part of 2021, now trading back and forth over and under 100. We'll see how that one plays as well. But a few interesting bets from Warren Buffett here in the second quarter of 2023. We'll see if his different plays here between parking some money in cash and then going for the home builders, going for a bank stock and an energy stock pan out the rest of the year.